All right, so I've been thinking a little bit about what things I'm seeing on the internet and also what season it is right now. We are in Lent, and this is the Lent that we have sacrificed the most ever, but that's okay. Everything is going to end up all right in the end. So one thing I've been noticing is a lot of people have been painting their windows, which, I mean, I suppose at some point I might do that. But for right now, I was thinking about the salt painting, and I was thinking about, well, what would I do for an image? So I thought it would be nice if I started with an image of the cross in the center. Now I'm drawing this super light because I don't want my pencil lines to show through with the glue when I'm done. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw very lightly with a pencil, and then I'm going to come in with my Elmer's glue. Elmer's, whatever brand you have, doesn't really matter. And I'm going to draw a glue line. When I have some, I'm not gonna do this whole thing. I'm gonna put the salt right into the glue, and I'm gonna let that sort of soak up for a minute. And then I'm gonna work on a little more of another area. Now I don't wanna make my glue line too thick. But I also don't want to make it so thin that it's not soaking up any of the salt. Kind of like we would do with glitter, right? Like when we were in kindergarten, 1st grade, 7th grade. Come on, you know you all still love glitter. I'm trying to keep my lines as straight as I can. And then I do a little bit, I put some salt. Now I have more salt here than I need. Way more than I need. Which is fine, because now I've let this soak up a little bit. I'm going to shake it off a bit onto another piece of paper. Like Taylor Swift, shake it off, shake it off. And I'm going to save this salt because I'm going to use it in other areas. There. So you see how thick that gets? That's why I don't want to make my glue line too thick, because the salt gets kind of crusty, but it looks good. So now I have a couple little spots left that I need to put some glue on. So I'm going to put this here. Let that soak up. Okay. I think the amount of salt that you'll probably use altogether would be like maybe a half a cup. So I'm really going to let that soak up. And then I'm going to think about what sort of other patterns and designs do I want to put in here. So I'm thinking I'm going to do like some rays coming out. Oh, hold on. I gotta shake a little more of this off. Be really careful because this is heavy and it's it could fall off easily. So for this part, we need to be very gentle. Gotta go easy with it. So I'm thinking of some rays to come off and out from the center. Thinking about the love and forgiveness and all that stuff that radiates out from God. Or really, literally, the light, right? Notice I'm using the extra salt that I had before, because I can recycle. Right now, when we're doing a little bit less shopping, and a little bit less out in the world, sometimes you gotta reuse what you've got and use what you've got. So I'm gonna let that soak for a minute. Absorb, soak, I don't know what you'd call it. Shake this off a bit. Try not to touch the glue and salt parts. And then I'm gonna do like some floury stuff. So I'm gonna speed this up, let you watch me do this whole part. So I'm gonna get real close to show you what that looks like. Now, as I was shaking things off, I noticed some stuff up here was starting to fall out. So I decided to stop shaking it off, and I decided to just put the salt on and just let it sit. So like there's some spaces that kind of have a lot of salt. I'm not touching this. I'm gonna leave this for like an hour or two to really make sure it's absolutely totally dry. You can leave it longer, you can leave it overnight, but I wanna make sure that this really dries solid before I start the next step. Oh, what I was putting down here was like flowers. I was thinking about roses, and I was thinking about light, and I'm thinking Easter thoughts, you know, because we're getting there. All right, so I will be back when this dries, and we'll continue. Okay, my friends, so I let this dry overnight, and now I'm gonna come in with my food coloring. I'm gonna stick with red, yellow, and blue because, as you know, we can make any color in the world with red, yellow, and blue. So I'm gonna start with yellow because I wanna do the cross. Well, so I'm gonna put, I don't know, 5 drops or so. Now, you're gonna wanna be careful with the food coloring. Put some paper or a trash bag or something down, because food coloring can stain. It can stain your fingers, it can stain your clothes, it can stain your tables. So be careful with that. Now, I noticed that this didn't really attach well. Some of this came off. So it's kind of an experiment. And I'm gonna take my brush and I'm just gonna drop this color into it. It should look, it is cool, right, Charlie?
Yes.
The thing is, this is gonna be a difficult piece of art to hang up because
The water might drip.
oh, it's not so much that the water's gonna drip, it's that the salt doesn't really hold on very well with the glue. Maybe I put the salt lines too close together, or maybe I put too much salt. I don't know. You kind of might have to experiment and do it like a couple of times. Maybe try to make your lines more far apart. Maybe use a little less salt. Because I mean, I went kind of crazy and I crusted it. But, so that's really what we're gonna do, is we're gonna take this and just drop it in. I'm gonna speed this video up to finish it. And, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna let this dry again, and it's more or less an experiment. Sometimes we do stuff and it comes out great. This looks beautiful, but it's not very sturdy, and it's gonna fall apart a little bit, but I still like it.
And purple
So,
is not purple.
experiment with your colors, experiment with your materials, see what happens. Sometimes beautiful things happen. Sometimes things happen that aren't quite awesome. But sometimes those experiments can lead us into something cool. So I'm thinking now I might start painting with my new homemade watercolors. So happy art. I'll see you guys next time.